Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the topic project-based learning. First, we have to think about what is project-based learning. Project-based learning, or you can say that PBL in short form, you can say that PBL. PBL is an instructional approach built upon learning activities and real tasks that have brought challenges for students to solve. These activities generally reflect the types of learning and work people do in the everyday world outside the classroom. Project based learning is generally done by groups of students working together toward a common goal. Project based learning teaches students not just content but also important skills in ways students have to be able to function like adults in our society. These skills include communication and presentation skills, organizations and time management skills, research and inquiry skills, self assessment and reflection skills, group participations and leadership skills, and critical thinking. Performance based learning is assessed on an individual basis and takes into account the quality of the product produced, the depth of content understanding demonstrated, and the contributions made to the ongoing process of project realization. Project based learning allows students to reflect upon their own ideas and opinions and make decisions that affect project outcomes and the learning process in general. The final product results in high quality, authentic products and presentation. Why project based learning use puts? Because हम उस समय ये बात करते हैं कि क्लासरूम में प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग क्यों यूज किए जाते हैं। प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग की क्या बेनिफिट्स है, ये अनदर जो मेथड टीचिंग मेथड्स है, जो अप्रोच है, उससे डिफरेंट कैसे है। देन वी कैन डिस्कस अबाउट प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग puts students in a position to use the knowledge that they get, effective in helping students understand, apply, and retain information. It can give students an opportunity to work with professional experts who enrich and support the teacher's knowledge and how it connects to the real world. It can be more effective than traditional instruction and increase academic achievement. Its benefits include building skills such as critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Students who work on projects show increased motivation and engagement in their studies. Project based learning provides knowledge and skills through solving authentic, real world problems. Research has shown that when learners can make choices within the scope of a project, the project has more personal significance and motivation, and engagement grows, which leads to a more effective learning experiences. Project examples are presentation, reports, portfolio, concept maps, and other assessment. The instructor's role is to introduce the project scope and communicate expectations, but then act as a mentor, guiding learners along the way. Learners must take an active role by acquiring knowledge needed to complete their project and then teach through the content submitted in the final project. Project characteristics प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग को कंडक्ट करने के लिए हम इंडिविजुअल्स मतलब व्यक्तिगत तौर पर भी कंडक्ट कर सकते हैं और उसे ग्रुप्स में भी समूह में भी कर सकते हैं इंस्ट्रक्टर और जो लर्नर का रोल है वो रिवर्स हो जाता है जैसे जो ट्रेडिशनल क्लासरूम होता है उसमें टीचर सेंट्रिक अप्रोच को फॉलो किए जाते हैं और टीचर इज द अथॉरिटी whereas in this process in this learning approach project based learning approach learners are the center and learners are the lead role in the classroom whereas the instructors are in passive mode learners are in active mode. Instructor role is only facilitator, mentor, or as like a coach, whereas learner roles are very important. He is he or she is the main center to learning any content, any topics, and any problem-based learning. Consideration for group work. Group projects provides opportunity for students to develop soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and conflict management. If used in synchronous learning, where learners do not have real time interactions, it will be critical to strategically design the learning experience. Unique challenges and opportunities exist when individuals work alone as a group. Contracts may be useful for learners to clearly communicate and agree upon team and individual expectations, roles, and responsibilities. Projects do not have to be done in groups and can be designed for individuals instead. Clear course learning objectives and rubrics are the main key. With any assessment, clear objectives and a rubric are essential for conveying expectations and describing what successful completion of the project looks like. Not only can a rubric improve the quality of the projects submitted, but it can also pay off dividends when it comes to grading. The rubrics can help reduce questions about why students received the grade they did, speed up the grading process, and ensure grading is carried out in a fair and equitable manner. Provide timely feedback. Timely feedback should be given from both peers and instructor. Using the same or similar rubric for both the peer review process and final assessment can provide two main benefits. First one is it reduces time spent grading for the instructor and second one is it provides a low stakes opportunity for learners to identify strengths and weaknesses in others' work that can be used to improve their own. For example, you are enrolled in a 12-week course where the objective is to create an effective online course for adult learners. Examples: projects might include choose a discipline within your area of expertise and design a 15-week online course on a specific topic. Enroll in an online course of your choosing. Identify an opportunity to improve the course design and using evidence-based research, come up with a solution to make improvements. Review the latest evidence-based research on increasing student engagement in online courses and create a 20-minute presentation discussing at least two problems and possible solutions. Reflect on an online course you have developed. Identify opportunities for improvement using evidence based research and identify at least two revisions you would make. Consider that examples evolve to design an engaging and accessible project based learning experience for all. First one is time. In the first example, assigning the project during the last few weeks of the course will not give students ample time to complete the project. Consider breaking the project into smaller pieces, spacing out deadlines, or reducing scope. First, do think, ask yourself, do learners have sufficient time to do what is being asked? Second, cost. In the second example, perhaps the individual could audit a course for free rather than enrolling and paying a fee. Do one thing, ask yourself, is the project cost prohibitive or are there free or low cost alternatives? Third, technology. In the third example, pretend you did not have access to presentation software. What would you do? What if you had the software but did not know how to use it? It's important to recognize that internet access and technology can create barriers and inequities between learners. Ask yourself, do learners have what they need to be successful and prior experiences? In the final example, what would you do if you had never developed an online course before? When designing your project, remember that learners will not have the same prior experiences and consider ways to make projects open to all learners. Ask yourself, can all learners participate in the project? Thus, we can conclude that project based learning can provide a rich experience, boost motivation, and create active engagement in the learning process. But it requires intentional planning using these key considerations. Now, we are discussing about how is it different from the other teaching methods. Project-based instruction is innovative by its emphasis on cooperative learning. Additionally, students create tangible results to represent what they have learned. Students use technology and inquiry to respond to a complex use problem or challenge. Project based learning focuses on student centered inquiry and group learning with the teacher acting as a facilitator as opposed to the one in charge. Activities match as nearly as possible the real world tasks of professional in practice rather than the classroom based tasks. This encourages interdisciplinary perspectives and enable learners to play diverse roles and build expertise that is applicable beyond a single well defined. Finally, it allows a range and diversity of outcomes open to multiple solutions rather than a single correct response obtained by the application of predefined rules and procedure. How is project based learning used? Some teachers use project based learning extensively as their primary curriculum and instructional method. Others use project based learning occasionally during a school year. Projects vary in length from several days to several weeks or even a semester. Project based learning can be effective at all grade levels and subjects, as well as at after school and alternative programs. Does project based learning work? There is 40 years of accumulated evidence that is the instructional strategy and procedures that make up project based learning are effective in building deep content understanding. Research also shows that project based learning raises academic achievement and encourages students' motivation to learn. Research studies have demonstrated that project based learning can be more effective than traditional instruction in increasing academic achievement on annual state administered assessment tests. PBL can be more resultant than traditional instruction for teaching mathematics, economics, science, social science, clinical medical skills, and for careers in the health, occupation, and teaching. PBL can be more practical than traditional instruction for long term retention, skill development, and satisfactions of students and teachers. PBL can be more serviceable than traditional instruction for preparing students to integrate and explain the concepts. PBL यानी कि that is project based learning can be especially effective with lower achieving students. Project based learning improve students mastery of 21st century skills such as critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, and innovation. Project based learning provide a fruitful model for whole school reform. As with any teaching method, project based learning can be used effectively or ineffectively. At its best, project based learning can be the spark in engaging learning experience and create a context for a powerful learning community to promoting achievement, self mastery, and contribution to the community. Characteristics of project based learning. Project based learning varies from classroom to classroom, but is often characterized by the following attributes. It organized around a problem or challenge without a predetermined solution. It creates a need to know of essential content and skills. PBL, project based learning, students design the process for reaching a solution. Project based learning requires critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and various forms of communication. Project based learning provides the opportunity for students to examine the task from different perspectives using a variety of resources, separate relevant from irrelevant information, and manage the information they gather. Project based learning, in this approach, students learn to work independently and take responsibility when they are asked to make choices. Students regularly reflect on what they are doing. A final product, not necessarily material, is produced and is evaluated for quality. The classroom has an atmosphere that tolerates error and change. The teacher takes on the role of a facilitator rather than a leader. The project based learning approach creates a constructive, constructivist learning environment in which students construct their own knowledge. Whereas in the old school model, the teacher was the taskmaster, and in the new school model, the teacher becomes the facilitator. Students as teachers, whereas teachers as coaches, and parent and community involvement is also there. Because in this scenario, changing roles and increasing participations, that is, project based learning allows many students to shine who might struggle on typical assessment, that is, students as teachers. The age of the teacher as the primary font of knowledge in the classroom is gone. Today, with the universe of experts and information available through the internet, students can access new and relevant information not yet discovered by their teacher. Internet using educators are discovering a new mode of learning that we call side by side learning. It is becoming a more and more common experience to find students assuming both informal and formal roles as teachers of their peers and younger students, and in many cases of teachers, whereas teachers as coaches. Teachers who involve their students in project based learning activities also find their own role changing. Rather than being simple dispensers of knowledge, they discover their primary tasks are to guide and coach and mentor their students. They teach their students how to question and how to develop hypotheses and strategy for locating information. They become co-learners as their students take on a variety of learning projects which could be unfamiliar territory. In the end, most teachers who experience these find it a rewarding experience. When students can share their projects and activities with the community through their web page presentation or tangible results. They are not the only ones to benefit from the interactions with a larger audience. Teachers also make new peer connections and find support and encouragement from a wide variety of their colleagues and content experts. Parent and community involvement. With the growth of the internet, more and more of the community can be formed online, therefore allowing closer relationship between people inside schools and outside in the real world. Parents, business leaders, scientists, and many other members of the community can play more effective and innovative roles as motivators, role models, sources of information, critics, evaluators, guides, and mentors. The internet also creates new model of school community involvement as students move from simply consuming to producing and publishing new and original information and knowledge. Members of the community seek out and appreciate the information presented on their website. Improved learning strategy and thinking skills. Learning to learn, lifelong learning, active learning, and cooperative learning. Learning to learn, effective online projects encourage students to work on a problem in depth rather than covering many topics briefly. Students also engage in learning what is needed to solve a problem or complete a project rather when the teacher decides in predetermined curriculum. Both of these strategies are cited in educational reform literature as being important tools to improve learning. Lifelong learning, where projects build learning experiences connected to the kind of learning one does throughout life rather than only on school subjects. By using the real tools for intellectual work that are used in the workspace rather than oversimplified textbooks techniques. Students become familiar with the kinds of knowledge that exist. Finding information and people on the internet gives students the knowledge of how to go about acquiring the knowledge they may need. Active learning. We all learn best by doing. In a well designed way, projects, students work in a hands on mode with the physical world. They gather information and data, explore, create, experiment, physically manipulate things, and organize information. They have access to people and information from the real world, and they develop a closer relationship to the real world context of problems and projects. The connection to real people, events, and problems in the world brings a relevance and connections that is immediate and involves their interest, their intellect, and their participation. Cooperative learning. Cooperative learning encourages active engagement by the students in learning, and it also builds critical skills needed in today's workplace. Online projects increase the audience and opportunity for cooperative learning by involving and communicating with a wide selection of people around the world. Students work directly with people from other places and cultures and collaborate not only with peers but with mentors and experts in a large number of fields. Examples of project based learning in mathematics. There is a wide variety of the type of project that teachers use in math class projects. Some teachers present a scenario for the project and have students take the role of a person in the workplace. Statistical report of a state. In a middle school mathematics class, students work together preparing a statistical report on the state, choosing a topic such as education. The end product can be a presentation with graphs and written descriptions of significant findings. Consider collaborating with a language, arts, or social studies teachers for this project. Design of a shopping mall. In a high school geometry class, students work as architects and design a shopping mall. Students research the design of malls and the feasible sizes for various types of stores. The end product can be a brochure, poster, or web page presenting the design to a panel of adults or students serving as city planning board. Role of historian. In a high school algebra or trigonometry class, students take the role of historian by researching the life of a mathematician of the past. Students present an important contribution of the person in addition to his or her life story. The end product can be a PowerPoint presentation about the mathematician presented to interested students or adults. Multiple process of the theorem, Pythagorean theorem. In an advanced high school mathematics class, students research various proofs of the Pythagorean theorem. They, the end product can be a web page showing the proofs for or on an oral presentation of one of the proofs. तो इस प्रकार से हमने ये देखा कि प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग अप्रोच कैसे एक क्लासरूम में इम्प्लीमेंट करने से वो कैसे इम्पैक्टफुल होता है और इसमें लर्नर की क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग कैसे डेवलप होती है, कंस्ट्रक्टिविस्ट अप्रोच उसके अंदर कैसे डेवलप होती है. Thus, we can conclude that project-based learning it gives learners work on project over a period of time, often collaboratively. And its advantages are encourages deep learning, collaboration, and practical application. And consideration of the project-based learning is should be clearly defined and manageable within the given time frame. तो इस तरीके से हमने ये देखा कि प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग को एक क्लासरूम में अप्लाई किया जाए तो वो उसके थ्रू स्टूडेंट्स अधिक से अधिक सीख पाएंगे और वो जो लर्निंग होगी वो लाइफ टाइम उस स्टूडेंट्स के साथ रहे. थैंक